West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another quick edition of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. I'm one half of the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, and it's important we drop today's episode. I think, you know what, I think Santoki and I are recording something later on today, so as you're watching this, keep your eyes peeled for another episode to drop maybe, I don't know, about 3 hours from now. I think we've definitely messaged and said, let's record something, so you may get 2 in a day. But this particular episode, I wanted to look ahead to the Women's World Cup qualifying campaign. And something that I've kind of noticed when it comes to West Indies content is that so much time is spent, and I'm not saying that we aren't guilty of this, but so much time is spent on different platforms talking about the men's team and like the different kind of minutiae and talking points and who should be captain and what does it mean for this player and should this guy do this and so on and so forth. And we made a kind of agreement going into 2025 that we had to up the women's content, and we do a lot of it. Well, sorry, we do it, but we need to do more of it. And I think it can be easy for people to kind of just get laywayed by the kind of paternalism of cricket and thinking it's just about what are the men doing. So we wanted to just do this quick episode looking ahead to the Women's World Cup campaign. And for those who don't know, we start our campaign on Wednesday, the 9th of April. So if you do not know our schedule, it is as follows. All the games are taking place in Pakistan. There are 6 teams. The top 2 go through to the World Cup. We play Scotland on Wednesday, Ireland on Friday. This is all next week, people. Then the following week, we play Pakistan the following Monday. That's Monday, the 14th of April. Bangladesh, Thursday, the 17th of April. And then we finish on Saturday, the 19th of April with a game against Thailand. Listen, I'm not going to front. As things stand right now, we are... Some people say that we are out-and-out favourites, and I've definitely seen some outlets that cover women's cricket quite extensively say West Indies go into this tournament as the favourites to qualify, right? And I'm not going to try and do that thing where you go, well, you know, if you look at it this way and if you look at it that way, I agree with that. We should be one of the top 2 teams in this tournament to qualify. However, this is sport, and anything can happen, and you can have a bad day one day and then all of a sudden qualification is you're hanging on by fingernails and results have to go your way and so on and so forth, right? So I don't want to count my chickens here. I don't want to assume or make any level of assumption that we definitely have the best team on paper, or certainly one of the best 2 teams on paper, so we should qualify. We had a warm-up game yesterday. So at the time of recording, 6th of April, we had a warm-up game yesterday against Ireland. We've got another warm-up game tomorrow, the 7th of April, against Pakistan. I'm not a fan of reading too much into warm-up games in so much as if you win them, that doesn't mean you're going to go on to have a successful campaign. If you lose them, that doesn't mean you're going to go on to have a dreadful campaign. I'm not as big a fan of reading into warm-ups and making kind of... and here is the definitive statement about what's going to happen. What I was interested on with this warm-up game against Ireland, what more intrigued me was having a look at who played, where did they play, and what does that potentially say about the best 11 for the West Indies senior women's team going into this World Cup qualifying campaign. So for those who don't know, like I said, we played Ireland yesterday at the Gaddafi Stadium in Lahore. Ireland batted first and posted 248 for 8 in their 50 overs. At one stage, they were 168 for 5 after 35 overs. So to be fair, they did well to end on 248 for 8. In terms of the key wicket takers, in fact, I'll give you the entire bowling card. Chanel Henry, 4 overs, none for 8. Cherry Ann Fraser, 4 overs, none for 15. Janella Glasgow, 3 overs, none for 14. Aaliyah Elaine, 6 overs, 1 for 33. Hayley Matthews, 10 overs, 3 for 62. Afi Fletcher, 10 overs, 2 for 41. Karishma Ramarak, 9 overs, 2 for 36. Zayda James, 4 overs, none for 32. So we used a total of 8 bowlers, which, I mean, we can spend a long time arguing about should West Indies be going into a game using 8 bowlers. But then on the flip side, you say it's great to have that flexibility. It's great to know that we can turn to a myriad of bowlers in these situations to try and get the breakthrough. With the bat, we chased down that 248 with 9 overs to spare. So that's encouraging. Like I say, don't want to get too far ahead of myself. Don't want to say, okay, because we laying down Ireland in a warm-up game, we're going to laying down everybody in the World Cup qualifiers and make it into the top 2. But that's encouraging. Chase down, and like I say, this ain't T20. This is 50-over cricket, right? So we chased down the 248 in 41 overs. And just reading through the scorecards, Hayley Matthews, 55 from 53. Zayda James opened with her, 47 from 73. Shemaine Campbell came at number 3, 11 from 14. Stefani Taylor, number 4, 53 not out from 51 balls. Chanel Henry at 5, 23 from 9 balls. Shabika Gajnabi, 25 from 31. And then Janilla Glasgow partnering Stefani Taylor at the end with 11 not out from 18. So all of that got me thinking, and this is really the point of the video, and what I want everyone to do when they've watched this little quick episode here is get at me in the comments below. In the comments below, write down what you think the starting 11 will be in our first game, assuming that the starting 11 against Scotland on, sorry, let me get our dates again, against Scotland on Wednesday, the 9th of April. Assuming that starting 11 is going to be our best 11, what I want people to do is get in the comments below after you've pressed like, share, and subscribe, and put what you think the West Indies best 11 is. I've gone through all the permutations in my mind, and this is what I've got. So, because the tournament is in Pakistan, we've already seen in that warm-up game that they gave 29 of the 50 overs bowled to spin. In fact, no, including Zayda James, let me say that they gave 33 of the 50 overs bowled went to spin. I think it's fair to say, and we can make an assumption, that West Indies are going to bowl majority spin in this tournament. Knowing that they're going to bowl majority spin, there are certain players in this side who I think are already a lock in terms of the construction of the 11. This is my side, people. Tell me if you agree. Hayley Matthews will obviously open. Kiana Joseph, who was injured, I believe, during some of the domestic Super 50. Obviously, she's not played in this warm-up game. I wait to see if Kiana is going to play in Monday's warm-up game against Pakistan, because that will be instructive to me as to whether she is actually fit to play in this tournament. I am assuming she must be, because why did they take her? Deandra Dottin hasn't gone to the tournament because they said she's injured. So I have to assume that Kiana Joseph has recovered from her supposed injury during the domestic Super 50. Zayda James scored 47 from 73, partnering Hayley Matthews. And I just want to say big up to Zayda James. It's brilliant to see that Zayda was always she was always earmarked from a young age. We're talking 15, 16, 17. People are talking about Zayda James from time that she's going to be good. She's going to be good. I think one of the things that kind of held Zayda back as she broke initially into the senior side from under 19 level is, where do they play her? Even now, I'm not convinced that they truly know where to play or what is the best position for Zayda James. But they've obviously put her to open. They're obviously exploring that option. She's not a big hitter. Certainly, if she's opening, they must see her in a kind of accumulator role, ensuring that there's wickets in the hutch to cash in at the back end, etc. But if Kiana Joseph is fit, you have to assume that Kiana Joseph is coming back in as the pinch hitter alongside Hayley Matthews, right? So my top 2 is Hayley and Kiana. Shemaine Campbell stays at 3. encouraging that Stefani Taylor, who obviously has perpetual injury issues, only played a few games in the domestic Super 50. She's just played this warm-up game, batted 51 balls, wasn't dismissed, 53 and out. She slots in at 4. Chanel Henry will take Deandra Dottin's role. Obviously, if Deandra was there, Chanel would have batted 6. I think they now have Chanel at 5 to do the big hitting role. I have slight worries in my mind about what happens if Chanel has to come in too early into an innings. And can she almost like rein in her explosiveness that she showed in the WIPL and has been shown in her recent career? Can she rein it in and construct an innings if push comes to shove in the course of the qualifying tournament? But either way, I think they have her at 5. So my top 5, just to repeat that, is Hayley, Kiana, Shemaine Campbell, Stefani Taylor, Chanel Henry. That's your top 5. Now, this is where the issues come in for me. I don't know who my 6 and my 7 is. And this is where I go to the crowd. I've got Rashada Williams as my backup. Rashada Williams is my backup designated batter. Anyone who's injured in that top 5, Rashada Williams comes in as the designated batter, right? So she's my reserve batter for the top 5. 6 and 7, I've got a shootout between Shabika Gajnabi, Janilla Glasgow, and Aaliyah Elaine. It's got to be 2 from 3 for me. And I guess what I'm saying to people is this is where we go back to how West Indies want to construct their bowling attack. Of those 3, I see Aaliyah Elaine always getting overs. So then it boils down to, so who else out of Shabika Gajnabi and Janilla Glasgow do they back as the better all-rounder? Aaliyah's got more experience than those 2. It doesn't mean she's more talented. I think Janilla Glasgow has shown. She showed bits and pieces in our domestic tournament that she can. I think Janilla, let me just find my numbers. Janilla scored 100. She was the 4th highest run scorer in our domestic tournament that just happened in the Caribbean when she was playing for the Windward Islands women. So Janilla, potentially, you could make an argument to say, might be is she the best batter of the 3? I'm sure Gajnabi would say, no, it's me. I just don't know, people. Where would you go with our 6 and 7? I think Aaliyah Elaine plays because they will expect Aaliyah Elaine to bowl overs. Yes, it's in Pakistan. Yes, they're going to go with a spin to dominate philosophy, you would assume, because that's our strong suit as a bowling attack. But they are going to have to use some paces to bowl some of the stock overs. And I think that's probably going to... I see Aaliyah Elaine getting some of those overs. I see Glasgow getting overs before I see Gajnabi getting any overs. So do they think a combination of Janilla Glasgow and Aaliyah Elaine offers enough with the bat that offsets Gajnabi not playing, who may actually be the best of the 3 with the bat? Is she the best of the 3 with the bat? Some will say, no, she's not. Some will say, Mash, you don't know what you're talking about. The best batter of those 3 is Janilla Glasgow, or the best batter of those 3 is Aaliyah Elaine. But it's not even about who's the best batter or who's the best bowler, just who's the best 2 out of 3 in constructing those all-round positions. I've got Aaliyah at current, but I'm willing to change my mind. I've got Aaliyah Elaine at 6. And I think I've got Gajnabi at 7, or possibly the other way around. At the moment, I've got Janilla Glasgow being left out. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. That's just what I've got at the moment. Then my construction of 8, 9, 10, 11 goes as follows. Zayda James 8. And yes, after everything I've just said about Zayda opening the innings and them not identifying what's the best spot for her, if Kiana Joseph is fit, Zayda's got to go down the order. Zayda is going to bowl spin in this tournament. I see Hayley, Affy, and Karishma bowling their set of 10 in every single game. That's 30 overs. If it's spin to win, they will also ask Zayda James to bowl some overs as well. So I've got Zayda James in my team. And you could well end up in a situation, particularly if it's spin to win, where you could even see Hayley, Affy, Karishma, and Zayda bowl all their full allocations, and all of a sudden that's 40 overs of the 50 all bowled by spin in the West Indies women's team. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm not saying that will definitely happen, but I could see at least one match where we bowl 40 out of 50 overs worth of spin, possibly. So I've got Zayda James at 8, Afi Fletcher at 9, Karishma Ramarak at 10, and then I've got Cherry-Ann Fraser at 11. Now, Cherry-Ann potentially could go up that order because I think she's a more explosive batter than Karishma and Afi. But at the moment, I've just got her at 11, right? Nominally as 11. So then what that means for my bowling attack, it means I've got Hayley, Afi, Karishma, bowl 10 every time. That's 30 overs. Then you're spreading your other 20 between probably Chanel Henry and Cherry-Ann Fraser up top. Let's just say, argument's sake, they bowl 6 or 8 between them up top. That's 38 overs. Let's say they don't go back to pace for whatever reason, assuming that the pitches aren't that conducive to pace, which then means you've got 12 more overs to share between Aaliyah Elaine and Zayda James. And that's before we even talk about someone like Stefani Taylor. I know she's got a back issue. That's before we even talk about Janilla Glasgow if she plays, because she can bowl as well, etc. So that's how I see my West Indies women's team construct. That's how I see the construction of the side going into the World Cup qualifiers. Of course, like I say, at the time of recording, there is a warm-up game against Pakistan tomorrow. I'm fairly certain that Shane, the head coach, is going to be looking at other kind of permutations and constructions ahead of that opening game, just to determine, is this the best way to set up his team? And what that means is, just for those who are kind of monitoring, these are my reserve players. Rashada Williams, at the moment, this is my reserve players. Rashada Williams is my backup batter. Munasar is my backup spinner if somebody got injured. Mangru is just a floating player for me. And then, like I say, it's one of Gajnabi or Glasgow who is my all-round backup, my all-rounder backup, dependent on situations. Let me know what you think, people. Let me know what you think. It all depends on if you study the women's game, because, like I say, so much of the West Indies online content or media content, so much of it is men focused, not even like the young youths, just senior men's team focused. And we got to remember that the actual most important thing right now going on in West Indies cricket is the Women's World Cup qualification campaign. That's where all our eyes should be turning on right now. Get me in the comments below. As ever, like, share, subscribe. If you'd like to support the Caribbean Cricket Podcast, you can head to www.patreon.com/Carib Cricket. Every little bit helps and counts to keeping the show on the road and ensuring that we can even afford to keep doing this. Not afford as in make money, just afford literally to keep doing this. But people, I've been Machel St. Patrick Hewitt, one half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. This lighting has been bright. I need to, that's better. One half the Caribbean Cricket Podcast. As ever, comments below. You know what to do. Like the video, share, press the notification button, help the algorithm, and we'll be back with some more content, possibly in the next 3 hours. See you soon.
West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast. West Indies Cricket, Caribbean Cricket Podcast.